business organization or a particular international organization. Now, the fund or the funder has set an agenda, and I am now expected to work in line with what the funder wants me to do. Or let's say there is this company called Lupin. It's a pharmaceutical company. Now, Lupin funds the researcher in, let's say, Symbiosis Biomedical Institute. Lupin funds the research. Now, Lupin expects some outcome at the end of the day, and Lupin wants certain kind of output to come from your research institute. And then, your research has certain conflict of interest that has created because you as a researcher did work for Lupin. So Lupin's profitability had to be kept in mind while I made my research. One kind of conflict of interest. Another conflict of interest is that I am a researcher and I'm sending my paper to publish in a journal, and the editor of the journal is a friend of mine or someone, maybe a relative of mine, for example. So I then tell the editor, look, I am sending my paper, please publish it. So he or she has no choice but to publish it. So those are some kind of conflict of interest that we need to ensure it doesn't happen. So how to maintain the research ethics and avoid scientific misconduct? So before conduct of research, during the conduct of research, after research, there are certain things that you're supposed to be following. So most of the things we have already discussed. I'm just kind of trying to summarize all those things that we discussed. So say for example, before the conduct of the research, develop a clear research plan. Who will do what, when and how, etc. You need to be very clear. Submit a protocol to ethical review. So you have to write a paper, proposal, etc., methodology, informed consent, etc., and get it approved by the Institutional Ethics Committee, IEC. Prepare and communicate well with your research community that you are going to do this, and agree on authorship. So before itself, you have to decide who is going to be the first author, who is going to be the second author, who is going to be the third author, etc., etc. So there is no conflict after you publish it. During the conduct of research, follow the approved protocol. So you have taken approval, follow that protocol, gain consent from every participant, involve the community, protect yourself and your team and your participants from any kind of harm. Regularly check your data. So that is while conducting data research supposed to do, and then after the data research. So again, your response doesn't end where you complete your paper research and submit the data. Even after, post, say share your study reports with various organization, maybe with your funder, with your institute. You may publish it in journals, etc. Return something back to the research community. If you're working on a particular community, give something back to the community. Publish following publication ethics, use reference management software, and finally, if the journal editor raise an issue, respond to it. Yeah. So if the editor found that your research has some problem, what do they generally do? There is an assessment. The RIO evaluates the allegation to determine whether it falls within the scope of the university's research misconduct policy. If yes, research investigation officer will proceed with an inquiry. So the RIO gathers preliminary evidence, the interviews case participants, and analyze case evidence to determine whether an investigation is warranted. If yes, the RIO proceeds with an investigation. The RIO or research investigation officer establishes an investigative committee who interviews case participants, examines all available evidence, writes an investigative report for submission, to the provost or vice chancellor. The provost in many universities is the registrar. The provost reviews the investigative committee's report and determines whether to accept the report and recommend actions or return the report to the committee and request additional information. So that's what generally happens. Again, these are all how you can mitigate your problems. So what are the major consequences? What happens? Could mean the end of career to a researcher. You can be dismissed as a faculty. Your research grant can be rejected. You can get blacklisted by the research community. Funding sources will refuse to sponsor research. Journal will refuse to publish your articles, etc. Publications may have previously earned academic achievement taken away. So those are all the consequences of misconduct, scientific misconduct. Okay. So I think we will take a short break, 10 minutes, 1:30, sorry, 3:30 ho gaya. So we will come back at 3:45. I need a little water break. Okay.